Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. So, children, have faith in yourself and keep on moving. So, let's continue with our chapter Parliamentary Government, the Union Legislature. So, till now, I have already explained about Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and the functioning of the Parliament. After that, I started telling about the functions of the Parliament. In that, I have already told the first function of Parliament, that is making laws. I told you how a bill becomes a law. So, for becoming a law, a bill has to pass through the following stages. So, the first stage is the first reading of the bill. And we can also say the introduction of the bill in the Parliament. Second stage is the second reading of the bill. After making the suggested changes in the bill is drafted again, and after that the bill read out again in the Parliament. This is the second reading of the bill. After that, the third reading of the bill and voting for or against the bill. Then when the bill passes from the one house of the Parliament, then it goes to the other house of the Parliament. When it gets passed from the other house of the Parliament too, then the bill goes to the President for the President's signature. So this is the whole procedure how a bill becomes a law. So today we will start with the second function of Parliament, and the second function is controlling the government's finance. So this is the second function of Parliament. So the Parliament is the custodian of the national purse. What do you mean by custodian here? Custodian means the caretaker, or we can say the guardian. So the Parliament is the guardian of the national purse. So purse means the wallet, the wallet where we keep our money. So here the national purse, the purse means that all the national income, all the sources from where the nation gets its income, this purse is under control of Parliament. Parliament is the caretaker of this purse. The government cannot levy or collect any tax or make an expenditure without the consent of the Parliament. Every year, the government has to place its budget, that is annual financial statement. Okay, the government has to place its budget before the Parliament, and the budget shows the government's expected income and planned expenditures. So, besides the budget, the government introduced a finance bill. This bill contains proposal for new laws and also for changes in existing taxes to meet the government's planned expenses. These fiscal policies of the government can be enforced only after these get the approval of the Parliament. The third function of Parliament is keeping the ministers accountable. For all its decisions and policies, the Council of Ministers is directly responsible to the Parliament. The MPs means members of Parliament, have the right to debate and criticize the government policies, and right to question ministers about the actions of the government. If the minister fail to satisfy the MPs with their answers, the Lok Sabha may pass a vote of no confidence against ministers. The MPs can move adjournment motion, cut motion, call attention motion, censure motion, no confidence motion. So MPs can move all these takes motions for keeping the ministers under control and making them responsible and accountable. So the next important function is removing high officials. So the parliament has the power to impeach the president, the vice president and the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts of India on charges of violation of the constitution. For that purpose, 1/4 members of either house of the parliament can move an impeachment resolution. They have to give a prior notice of 14 days. If the house passes it with 2/3 majority of its total membership, the resolution goes to the other house, which investigate the charges. So the other house investigate the charges. These high officials, president, vice president and the judges have given the opportunity to defend themselves. So the next fifth function of parliament is approving amendments to the constitution. So the constitution cannot be amended without the parliament's approval. A bill for amending the constitution can be introduced in either house of the parliament. Usually an amendment to the constitution needs to be approved by 2/3 majority of two houses of parliament. So the recent example of amendment of constitution is the removal of Article 270. On August 5, 2019, the government of India brought the bill to remove the Article 370. The bill was passed in both the houses of parliament and from that day Jammu and Kashmir became an integral part of India. So the next and the last function that is given in your book is approving policies towards other countries. So treaties and trade agreements with other countries have to be approved by the parliament. The parliament passes laws required for the enforcement of international treaties. Even for declaring a war, also the parliament consent is required. So let's have a look on all important functions of parliament. So the first function is making laws. Second function, controlling the government's finance. Third function, keeping the ministers accountable. Fourth function, removing high officials. Fifth function is approving amendments to the constitution. And the sixth, the last function is approving policies towards other countries. So all these are the functions of parliament. The next topic is distinguish between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Members of Lok Sabha are directly elected by the eligible voters, whereas members of Rajya Sabha are elected by the elected members of State Legislative Assembly. The period of Lok Sabha is 5 years. Rajya Sabha is a permanent body. 1/3 of its members retire after every 2 years. The maximum strength of Lok Sabha is 552 members. The Rajya Sabha has not more than 250 members. Money bills can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha. It grants the money for running the administration of the country. The Rajya Sabha does not exercise much power over money bills. Lok Sabha is more powerful than Rajya Sabha, and Rajya Sabha is less powerful than Lok Sabha. So, this is enough for today. Have a beautiful day and keep smiling always.